You ready for show business?
Are we in show business?
We, as far as I know, we are now officially in show
entertaining enough. So here's what
I don't know.
wondering.
We gotta be entertaining.
Are we entertaining?
I don't know.
Email us, drtv@redfutonfilms.com, or Twitter us and let us know if we're entertaining. I'm Jay Friesen. That's Dr. Brian Madsen. And this is The Spindle. We got a good show otherwise, so check out our other 4 episodes on YouTube.
Segments of this
segments.
episode.
Other
You
4
never get
videos.
that right.
Other 3 videos. We've got an Honor of the Pig, which is going to be
great.
It's going to be fantastic. We're we're having a toast to a wonderful man.
To a great man.
We'll
talk more about that later.
And we got Brian Godawa, screenwriter and author extraordinaire from Hollywood, California, talking about Christian horror. Ever heard of such a thing?
Horror film. I know, you're totally skeptical. Listen, I was totally skeptical. Like, is horror an appropriate genre for Christians to indulge in? And I was skeptical, and I read a chapter in the wonderful book that Brian has written. And then, of course, we talk about it in the Above the Pay Grade segment today. And I got to tell you, he makes a pretty convincing case. You're going to want to stick around for that.
And Brian, on his commentary, is talking about why creeds are not strictly make you feel like you're Catholic.
Yeah, creeds are not.
Even
just
though you're
for
Christian,
Roman
you're not
Catholic.
strictly, Catholic.
Yeah,
so,
be fun.
Spindle, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
No, I like it when you go first.
Okay. All right.
It gives me something to feed off of, so.
We are going to have kind of a cultural heavy episode because I'm going to talk about a Jared Wilson article in the Gospel Coalition entitled "Thinking Evangelically About Tim Tebow."
Oh man, we're going to talk about Tebow.
Right. Well, we're not going to talk about about Tebow. We're just
Should the Jacksonville Jaguars fire him now that their quarterback just got?
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that he's... See, and here's what Jared said. He doesn't know that he's actually quarterback material, and perhaps he's actually showing an inkling of pride because he refuses to give up on his quarterback idea. He's probably good enough to play in the NFL, just maybe not quarterback.
I had not heard. I heard somebody else mention that on Twitter recently that they thought that maybe Tim Tebow was being a little bit proud and kind of insisting on playing quarterback. But I had not heard that. I had never heard any inkling that he was refusing. But it turns out there just was a report.
Maybe that's just me saying it's yours. Now, what Jared had to say is that perhaps we feel like he can't fail because he seems to be some sort of Christian celebrity anointed by God, and therefore
he's our prophet, right?
He's your prophet, priest, and king. He can't fail. When in fact that's totally silly.
That's kind of nonsense. Yes.
As if somehow the cause of... I'm gonna be very Christian on today's show.
Oh yeah, last week you're giving me a hard time for running off all our non-Christian audience, so you go for it. Okay,
I'll go for it this time. So as if somehow the cause of Christ is inhibited if we didn't have a Christian celebrity like Tim Tebow. Somehow we can't affect culture if we don't have our Christian celebrities, or for that matter, our Christian movies, or our Christian music, or our Christian novels. And frankly, it's very hard to change or impact culture when they all stink.
Yes,
but you still have to go and support them because they're Christians trying to do something for culture, even though they suck. Now, that being the case, support me.
Yeah, even though he sucks,
even though I suck.
Support him. It goes back to what Billy Corgan, I mentioned. Billy Corgan said last week on our Spindle. Jesus wants better bands. Yeah. I mean, I don't think. How could you deny that? Jesus wants better bands. He wants better music. He wants better movies. He wants better art. He wants better everything from his people. So, but I'm not sure how you're connecting that aspect of it with the celebrity worship. I mean, the two seem to go hand in hand.
We almost have a little bit of a connection between, we have our Christian music, we have our Christian books, we have our Christian movies, we also have our Christian celebrities.
Right. This is another way. You're saying this is another way of how evangelical Christianity likes to ape culture.
Right.
Like,
because if
the world does something, they have something, then we're going to have our own version of it.
And if we don't have that, then we somehow cannot effectively influence culture.
I got you. So we need
Which
we
is,
need our
I mean,
own
you just end up
faux celebrities.
propagating your own subculture anyway.
Right. You're critical of Christians having their own celebrities is just it's just the way the world does.
I'm just kind of
things.
critical of Christians having all their own stuff.
Subculture.
Some of it's good, some of it's necessary, some of
Subculture.
it is
We're
some
going
of
to
it's
talk a lot
business.
about. We're going to talk a lot about this.
So that's my
what
spindle item.
Christians thinking that they're influencing culture, but all they're
Spindle.
doing is creating subculture. Right.
Right.
Well,
That's my only thought today.
that
Well, I'm going to ask you about Syria
you
at the end of yours.
You
but,
couldn't fit any more into that bald cranium of yours. That's
well,
it.
I could have, but
okay.
that's just what stuck out. That's what I feel like I need to say on today's show.
Well, you
That's
brought
what
up
I
the-
feel God has led me to say to you today.
And send us money.
We suck,
that was
but
good.
we're Christians trying to do something.
I don't have a Rolex yet, so it's like no, we're not trying to be Trinity
You have a nice coat
Broadcasting
on.
Network. Hey, thanks. I kind of like you're looking pretty fly yourself today.
Calvin Klein,
That's nice. Mine's Ralph Lauren.
Men's Warehouse, buy one get one
Ralph Lauren
free or something like that.
garage sale. So, true.
By the way, the cut on the coat you gave me,
Yeah.
that I wore.
I don't know.
I haven't worn
you
it on the show
yeah,
yet.
Yeah, right,
I'll wear it on. Won't wear it next week. Maybe I'll wear it the week after.
Okay, yeah. I
Anyway,
gave
the
him a
cut,
really cool
the
coat.
cut that you gave me on that, it's a really nice 3-button. It's kind of brown. It's
kind of
It's just got a
Italian cut.
cool. Yeah, it's got like. It's like it fits. It's just got a really
It's a
nice
super
cut.
coat.
I just
Super coat.
really
I
like
loved that coat, but it didn't fit.
And
me.
I'm thank you.
Well,
for
you're welcome.
giving it
Hey,
to
you're
me.
welcome, man. What are bros for? Speaking of culture and Christians creating subculture and celebrity and all that, I might as well bring up one of the finest writers and one of my favorite people to read on this topic is an old seminary professor of mine at Westminster Seminary in Philadelphia, Carl Truman. He's the professor of church history there. Carl is
Because he gets himself into a lot of trouble.
Carl
every now and then.
does not have a PC filter. So, which is what makes him so successful as a writer.
I made the mistake one time of posting a link of his on Facebook. Oh, I got slammed.
Yeah, Carl doesn't have a PC filter, which is why he's so fun to read. And Carl is one of the best guys to read on kind of the critique of the evangelical celebrity culture. He's much more.
Well, this ties in really
into-
well with mine.
Yeah, it does. And he just can't stand the celebrity culture, even though he is one, which I find slightly
And
ironic.
we're trying to be. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
not really. Slightly ironic. Anyway, Carl got himself. You can read his blog, by the way, at reformation21.org. Carl is a fantastic writer. Anything he writes is definitely worth reading. He is a very witty. He's a very sarcastic and incredibly cynical Brit.
Why would we want to read
Oh, 'cause
something
he's-
cynical?
Because, well, Brits are the best
'Cause
writers
cynicism-
generally. He's cynical about the right things.
Okay.
Except you knew that was coming. But I was bringing this up. But Carl got himself in a little bit of a pickle earlier last month, actually. He wrote a blog post in which he was very critical of people out there championing Christians influencing and transforming culture. Basically, he said, you guys aren't transforming anything. Get real. You're not. See, he was having the same problem you were about the celebrity culture. You guys are not transforming anything, so you might as well. Basically, the gist of it is give up. Just give up. Just go home, raise your family,
Well,
have
that
your
is
job.
cynical.
Just give up. Well, the thing is Carl then got a lot of pushback, and he had to take it all back, and he kind of did take it all back, which I thought was kind of good for him. Basically, people pointed out to him, Carl, are you really saying that Christians don't have an influence on culture? You know, we ended slavery, we founded orphanages, we invented hospitals, we launched the scientific revolution. Really, we've never done anything. And he had to back up. Okay. I'm not saying Christians can't influence and transform culture, but he ended his follow-up piece this way, and I found this quite interesting. Carl said, I really wish you guys well. In your efforts to transform culture, hats off to you. I really wish you well. To which I want to say this, Carl. What are you going to do to help? Are you just going to sit on the sidelines, write sarcastic blog posts, mocking people who are actually out there in various disciplines and fields trying to influence these things for Christ? You're just going to throw popcorn at them and laugh at them? Or if you're really serious, if you're really sincere about I really hope you succeed, maybe some help and some encouragement might be the more appropriate response. On this show today, we're going to be talking to somebody who is doing exactly what I'm talking about, who is actually involved in the film industry in Hollywood.
You know, and on next week's show, we've got Chris Taylor, musician, former CCM musician, artist extraordinaire.
In San Antonio.
He emailed me, or he texted me yesterday, and he said, here's what he said. He said, enjoy life and create cool things along the way.
There you go. And that's cool. I mean, I think...
And it's like,
that's kind of what Carl's getting at, too. Is
make good art. Just do what you do and do it the best you can, and let that be enough.
And influencing and transforming culture, I think Carl's right in the sense that it doesn't happen necessarily by celebrities. And I think that evangelicalism do that a lot.
Didn't he mention Kuiper out in Norway?
Yes, and that was part of the thing. Part of his cynical thing was, look, Abraham Kuiper, the Dutchman of a century ago, founded newspapers, a university. He was a prime minister of Holland, and he was, a Christian who was all about transforming culture. And then Carl said, look at Holland. It's a disaster. Well, okay, that's totally unfair. A lot of things have happened in Holland since Abraham Kuiper died in 1920. So that wasn't very fair of Carl. But I just want to say, Carl, you need to start supporting and uplifting and encouraging people who have these passions from God.
And you actually have a little bit of a reason. You can tell him this because you studied
I know him.
under him.
Well, we're friends. Carl and I would consider him a friend. I think he would consider me one as well.
No.
Unless I wrote something that made him mad. You never want Carl Truman, by the way. You never want Carl Truman to review your book. Okay? It's put that on your checklist.
The book I'm writing right now, I was actually thinking about having Carl.
The checklist of things to do. If you're an academic or if you're an author,
seriously,
do not have Carl review your book. I say that because I've seen him. Okay, I'm going to take it all back. Do not have Carl review your bad book. He's very gracious when it's a great book, but man, if it's a bad book,
so
ouch.
He reviewed one of your bad books?
No, Carl's never reviewed any of my books, which I'm very grateful for.
Okay. All right, one final thing.
Yes, one final thing.
And I know Syria is kind of fizzling.
That was the grand fizzle, wasn't it?
That was pretty phenomenal.
We're going to attack you, not. We are going to, but we don't want to. I'm going to go to Congress, but I don't have to. Anyway,
we were sitting over coffee, I think, we were sitting somewhere, and I said, Brian, what's your? No, I think we were sitting here in the studio.
Yeah, what do we think about it?
And I said, Brian, what do you think about it? And you responded with one simple question.
I responded with a question that I got from Rusty Reno, who's the editor of First Things magazine, on a blog post. By the way, great magazine to read. You should go. Everybody should read First Things. Reno made a point about when is it right or just to actually go into war, to launch a war, and he had a very simple question that you have to answer. At very least, one question you have to answer before you do it, and that is, we are going to kill those people so that ... Finish that sentence. If you can't finish that sentence with anything that's coherent, then you should not be going to war. We're going to kill those people so that we're going to topple the regime and replace them with somebody better. We're going to kill those people so that no one will ever use chemical weapons again. We're going to kill those people. There has not been a sufficient answer to that question.
And I still struggle with the whole, what gives America the right to go in and topple regimes and change things around?
Are
we just an arrogant country?
Well, we are the most powerful country. And
well, that's true. It doesn't mean we have to abuse our power.
Have you never read Spider-Man? My goodness, I can't believe this. With great power comes great responsibility. Okay?
I just don't ever want to have to be.
If the big kid on the block who believes that children shouldn't be gassed looks the other way when children are gassed, that's a problem.
I just never want to have to be the one to. That's true. I just don't want to have to be the one to make that call. It'd be a tough call to make.
Hey, man, you're not president of the United States.
I do not want to be president of the United States.
Anybody who would run for that job has a little bit of a mental issue, but...
See how much gray hair Obama's gotten since he started?
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, indecisiveness.
Just he went from young and colored to old and gray.
Yeah, they all do that. Actually, all presidents. It's not an easy job, that's for sure. As Barack is finding out, it is not an easy job. Hey, cool Spindle. We got it all about culture and transformation. We're going to talk to Brian Godawa. Hope you check out that interview. That's going to be great. And please check out In Honor of the Pig, because we're going to talk about somebody who knew how to live life.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. So thanks for joining us on Dead Reckoning. I'm Jay Friesen, and that is Brian Metzer.